Kai. So I want to talk to everyone today about semen retention. This is a no BS, real deal, kind of my perspective of what it was like to do a full year of semen retention. And a lot of ups and downs. I'm going to kind of talk about why I started, and, kind of month by month, how I was feeling, and then why those reasons changed from the beginning and what kind of carried me through to the end. And ironically, the best part of what I've learned about my relationship with women and how to really attract women. It's not what you see on YouTube, like those videos where those videos kind of talking about how women can smell the retention on you. I mean, it's not like that. But I will tell you exactly what they're talking about in like a runaround. So I remember I started semen retention actually kind of naturally, right? Like I didn't sit there one day and watch a video and say like, I'm going to do a year of semen retention because I want to attract more women. I just remember it was something I naturally started to do. Like I would only like masturbate or watch porn once a week, right? Because I was at a point where I just was like so on edge and drained all the time. Like I would like all the time because I was watching porn all, pretty much every day, like, I mean, come on now, you know what I mean? It's 21st century. We got cell phones and, when I wasn't doing that, I was, on dating apps all the time or just going out and meeting women at the gym or just wherever and just trying to talk to them, trying to get their attention and like all this stuff, And I think it was at the time where I feel like I just like on my spiritual journey, I was at a point where I just didn't really see the point in just continuously having sex with women anymore. I just was starting to question that. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not being fulfilled like I thought I would, right? Because at first, just maybe having sex with one woman, is enough, but then that doesn't become it, then you need to do more. And then you need to have all of, however many people like in your rotation giving you attention to validate yourself. I mean, that just comes from an extremely insecure place. Like you're not validating yourself enough. And so you need to seek that from the opposite sex. Now, I'm not saying don't be in a relationship with someone special or, do what you want. Like if you want to do this stuff, like go ahead and do it. Like I'm not saying that this is the right way. I'm just telling you that this is how I was feeling. Right? These were the questions I was having. And so I just started pulling back, and I would only masturbate or watch porn or have sex or whatever. It was just like once a week, but then I would retain, and I felt when I was retaining for that week, I just remember feeling like I had so much more energy. It was unreal, right? Like I was performing better at work. I was performing better in the gym. I was more lively. Didn't have as much anxiety. I was much less stressed. I was sleeping better. And so I was just, okay, right? And then, ironically enough, like my journey on semen retention has actually attracted me the best girlfriends that I've ever had in my life, because I stopped looking for it, right? And that's another video I'll get into, like why when you stop looking for it, like it comes. But I got into like kind of a long-term relationship with somebody, and it was a great relationship. We found each other, and we connected, and we both learned what we needed to learn from each other, and then we parted ways. But I remember once I parted ways with this person, this girl, that was when I had felt called to really do semen retention. I was just about to go overseas for about 6 months, 7 months to work down in South America. And I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm going to get away from everything, and I'm just going to be very focused on my spirituality and my introspection and my semen retention. And so I'd say about after the first month and a half, right? This is the roughest part. The first month and a half is brutal. Like it takes some serious commitment beyond just, oh, I'm just gonna try this today. Yeah. Just gonna try it out. No. You need to be pretty firm in your reasoning for doing it. Now, because you feel extremely on edge, you feel extremely tense all the time. You feel you're not sleeping well, because what's happening is you're going through a dopamine detox. Like, your body is so used to getting these dopamine hits from watching porn, staring at women, talking to women, having sex, just masturbating, like all of this stuff. Like, I don't think you realize how much dopamine that you're unhealthily your body is getting just from the masturbating every day and watching porn. Like, it's so bad for you. And so, like, it literally felt like I was going through, like, drug withdrawals. I mean, I was, like, shaking. I was losing weight. I wasn't feeling good. And I had energy, but it was, like, tense energy. It was, like, shaky energy. I didn't feel calm at all. But that was my body going through that dopamine detox, right? Now, this next part right here. And I had the benefits that, like, the superficial benefits everybody talks about on YouTube, like, much more energy, my social skills, eye contact. Like, I don't know what the hell people say. I mean, I did feel like I was pretty on, though, when I was talking to people in general. But ironically, like, this didn't attract me any more women because my mindset was still like, I want to get attention from women. It's all about the mindset and your energy that you're projecting. You can't fake this stuff. When people talk about like that, you got to be an alpha male, and, if you just got to ignore them, you got to ignore women and they'll, like, find you attractive. You got to not pay attention to them. Like, you can't fake that, though. Like, that has to come from a place of genuine, like, I don't want this. Not like a place of, I'm just going to pretend. And I was still pretending at the time. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I was trying to limit it, but I just didn't really want to, like, any attention from women. I didn't want anything to do with women. Like, I just didn't. Like, I had enough of, I'd had enough of it in my life. I was starting to see kind of past the superficialness of it all. So then I'm overseas at this point. So this is about month 2 and 3. I went through a severe, I guess people call it like a flatline, if you will. Zero energy, super lethargic. I mean, it was, as my body wasn't getting the dopamine, right? And it had tried for a long time keeping me on edge and keeping me antsy and doing all this stuff to try to get me to do it, right? But then this is what happens, right? Your body's not getting that dopamine externally. And so now, and it doesn't know how to produce it internally yet because it was so used to getting it externally. It's like taking steroids, or testosterone. Like, once you stop taking the testosterone, the body needs to learn how to reproduce it again naturally. Same with the dopamine. And I mean, I didn't care. And honestly, I really enjoyed the break because I didn't really even care about women or attraction or anything really at all. I just I did feel calm and at peace because even though I didn't really have excess dopamine, I mean, maybe it was a little bit of a depression. Anxiety was kind of gone at that point, to be honest with you. And it was around this point, actually, where I decided to stop taking anxiety and depression medication because I had been on it for 10 years, on and off. But semen retention got me off of anxiety medication. It got me clean off of all pharmaceuticals, everything. I'm not saying this is what you should do. You should definitely consult your doctor, consult your psychiatrist. I think I just stopped taking them because I felt my intuition was telling me to stop. And so I stopped. But, don't throw them all down the toilet when you shouldn't, or if you shouldn't, and be like, well, I watched this video on Kai's YouTube and he said to do it, so. Yeah, I don't want that lawsuit, man. Just kidding. But so I'd say we're around like, what did I say? Like 3 to 4 months. Yeah, severe flatline. And expect that. Your body is learning how to reproduce its own dopamine again. You know, I think I remember occasionally having watched some porn, but not masturbating or not even doing anything about it, because I just needed a hit of dopamine here and there. I'm not saying this was the best thing to do. I couldn't help it. I needed some kind of dopamine. It was like, yeah, it was rough. But again, it was peaceful. I wasn't trying to talk to women. I wasn't trying to attract them or anything at all. Now, around month 5 and 6, that was when I really started to see a big shift. And what I mean by that was my dopamine was starting to come back naturally. My anxiety was gone. You know, it was my first time in my life where I really didn't feel like I had daily anxiety, you know, all the time. Like, obviously, I'm a human being. You're a human. You still get anxious here and there and stuff, and you have to learn how to cope with that. Like, you got to learn how to bear that, right? But I'm talking about anxiety that just stops your day or just disrupts your entire day. No, it wasn't that anymore. I think by that point, I already had like a lot of coping mechanisms in place, and learned how to deal with it naturally. But the dopamine was starting to come back. And this is when I regained lots of benefits. Self-confidence was through the roof. You know, my drive to achieve and do things in the gym, I was gaining muscle, I was gaining weight, like the good kind of weight, and I was doing a lot better at my job, and I just felt really balanced. But I had it without being that on edge. I had it without like being stressed. Felt calm and peaceful inside. And at this point, I wasn't even really thinking about women. I think this was the point where I kind of realized that most of my desire to have women in my life, whether it was getting them to make, when you're in the gym, like, are they staring at me? Let's play this game. You know, you go to the beach, like, let's play the game. You know, are they looking at me? Let me see if I can get them to look at me. You know, like, let me see if I can get the attention. You know, come on, like, we all do it, right? Like, I just didn't have a desire to do that anymore. You know, I had noticed I started to talk to women like any other human being, just like, hey, how are you? No ulterior motives, no weird intentions, and genuinely just was like, hey, like, what's going on? You know, I went, and when I was overseas, I went to go get a smoothie pretty much every day at this little mall and talked to the same girl every day, and we just developed a little bit of a friendship. Again, I didn't want anything from her. I just was like, hey, how's it going? What's up? You know, give me that smoothie, dog. That was overpriced. But I think this was, yeah, I think this was the sweet spot at this point. But this was also the point where I started to get like wet dreams, like a lot. I'd probably have them once every 2 weeks, maybe. But I was so charged up because I'm, I feel like a lot of people that talk about this semen retention stuff, like, that are consistent about it, are like in their 50s and 60s. I mean, like, I'm a millennial, man. Like, still young, right? And I still got a lot of testosterone. It's like when I was super juiced up. So like when I would have a wet dream, I would just let it happen. So I could honestly get that little bit of a calm. I could chill out a little bit. I tried stopping it a few times, but it just kept me too on edge. But so let's fast forward now. That stayed pretty consistent up until about I think some really cool stuff started to happen at about month 10 to 12. So this is the important stuff right here. My entire view on women had changed. You know, before I started semen retention, like, I just went through that phase where I just, you know, was just trying to get as much female attraction as possible. I was just, you know, just having a bunch of sex, just, you know, getting a bunch of girlfriends here and there and like all this stuff. And it was like a huge part of my life. Like everywhere I would go, it would be like, where's the girls at? You know, like, where's the women at? I need their attention. Like, I needed it. That's the thing. Like, you really genuinely feel like you need it. And it's that dopamine addiction. That's what it is. You know, and when I was at a point now where I just was finally able to be out and not think about women. Like, genuinely, like, if the universe sends me somebody or if I just bump into somebody, like, that's fine. That's cool. And then, ironically enough, I don't know, I think it's just, I don't know why it played out exactly at this time. Like, this is what I mean when, like, the best women that are sent to you are the ones that you don't look for. And I was on semen retention, not looking for this, you know, and I truly had felt balanced for the first time, honestly, in my adult life. Like, truly balanced. I was eating healthy. I was sleeping good. I was drinking a lot of water. My exercise regimen was on point. I was doing good at work. And the semen retention, you know, I didn't have any desire for women. And then I just bumped into one of the most beautiful women I'd ever laid eyes on. You know, super, you know, I'm not even going to go into the detailed description. It was my 10, if you will. We liked the same things, super spiritual, loved martial arts, funny, you know, all of those attributes that you really look for in someone. You just clicked. And long story short, I broke the retention because, you know, like, my gut had said to do it, you know, and I had this amazing relationship with this girl for a little bit, you know. She had ended up just actually moving, which is fine, you know. It just shows kind of a short. I was going home at this point, you know, so it was kind of understood, right? Like, this is going to be a short thing, but we're going to enjoy it. My heart, here's the thing too. This year of semen retention had opened up my heart to be able to empathetically receive a human being. I was able to be vulnerable. I was able to be open, and this produced one of the most powerful relationships I've ever had with someone, even if it was a short period of time. Now, the most important part, one of the most important parts of this is, this was the biggest realization that I ever had, and this is when I truly started to kind of see that, like, I had a lot of, I guess, I felt like I had a lot of options with women, was when I just truly stopped caring. Like, it wasn't like I'm denying this, but I'm also not looking for it. And I was able to be myself. I didn't have that, like, macho alpha male bullcrap, like, trying to pretend like I was something I wasn't or overcompensate for anything. You're just yourself. And people can sense when you don't have any ulterior motives with them. And I didn't. And so naturally, you know, as like any man would, I definitely, you know, took advantage of that. Like, not like took advantage of a human being. I just, like, used those opportunities. I dated a lot of women and I broke retention a lot. But at this point, like, sex to me, unless it was super powerful and deep, didn't mean anything to me. That's what really changed. And so I just was like, you know, I don't really want to do this anymore. And that's what I mean when I say, when you truly stop wanting it, it comes. But you don't usually do it because you just don't want it. My point is, start the semen retention. Go as long as you can, too. Just go as long as you possibly can. And then you're going to relapse. It's going to happen. Like, you're going to have your setbacks and all this stuff. Like, it's fine. Like, I relapsed a lot before I got onto that final streak of a year. A lot. Don't be hard on yourself. You know, don't judge yourself. Don't look at it as any, I mean, this is hard stuff. Start it for those superficial, bare bones reasons. Wisdom is naturally going to come to you, and when you get on the other side of it, I promise you, your life is going to be 100% different. You're going to see things from a very different angle, a very different perspective, and you're going to be able to walk around places and truly be at peace and not worry about if there's women there, not worry about if, you know, I need to have sex this week. I need to go and watch porn this week, you know, none of that stuff. And then you can sit back and wait and relax for the universe to send you the right girl. And when it does, I promise you, it'll be the most powerful, most intoxicating relationship of your entire life. Relationships, for however long it lasts. All right, guys. I know this was a super long video, so I appreciate you. If you stayed all the way through, you know, I hope you took something away from it. Leave any comments you have, and, you know, I'll talk to you soon. Okay.